You're wired in. SmallcapVoice.com. Following is a presentation of SmallcapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support. Now, with your online business briefing, SmallcapVoice.com's Stuart T. Smith.
Welcome one, welcome all to this online business briefing brought to you by SmallcapVoice.com. And as you just heard, I'm your host, Stuart Smith. And we're joined today for the very first time by Stronghold Metals Incorporated. The company is currently traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the ticker symbol Z. They're traded here in the United States under the ticker symbol SDMTF. And we are joined today by the President and Chief Executive Officer of the company, Yannis Tsitos. Yannis, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction.
You bet. Thank you so much for your time here at SmallcapVoice.com. Now, for the members here of our listening audience that may not be familiar with Stronghold Metals, let's talk a little bit about the business market and model for the company.
Yes, thank you, Stuart. Stronghold Metals Inc. is a company that is an exploration company and a company that aspires to become a mining company, especially in the spectrum of gold and base metals, with our projects mainly located in South America.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the project that you have going right now, the Eagle Mountain Gold Project in Guyana. Listeners, there are updates about this project available on the company's press wire. Let's talk a little bit about this project, Yannis.
Absolutely. Eagle Mountain is our flag project. It is located in Guyana, in South America. Guyana is the only English-speaking country in South America, and it's a hot spot, I would say, now at the moment in terms of gold exploration, given the fact that there are some very interesting stories followed up in the recent 3 years in Guyana. But Guyana historically is famous for its exports of gold and some interesting exploration and mining projects developed in this country. It has a British law. It's a Caribbean state effectively located in South America. And Eagle Mountain is not a new project. It's a project that belonged to IAMGOLD, the medium to big size famous gold producer. And it arrived to Stronghold Metals through an acquisition agreement that we had and executed at the end of 2010, and which we concluded in the beginning of 2011. So we have an option to get up to 100% of this project by a combination of cash payments to IAMGOLD, specific expenditures on the ground in Guyana in terms of exploration and development costs, and issuance of stock from Stronghold to IAMGOLD, which effectively will make IAMGOLD the biggest shareholder of Stronghold.
Well, recently the company talked about some positive analytical results there at Eagle Mountain Gold Project. Let's talk a little bit about what you recently announced. Tell me how the drilling's going so far.
Yes, Eagle Mountain is not just an exploration project. It is an advanced exploration project. In other words, there is already some resource outline by the predecessors, namely Golden Star, Cambior, and IAMGOLD, effectively the same company, up to the time we acquired the project. Since then, obviously, we set up our own team in Guyana. We inherited through the deal the IAMGOLD's team, an exceptional team from the chief geologist, a Canadian lady named Anne Castleman, who works in the project for the last 7 years in any case. So therefore, we have a continuation of the program of IAMGOLD on the ground, to all the technical personnel, even workers and cook of the camp, analytical, laboratory, trucks, and so on. Everything has come to Stronghold. So we incorporated a subsidiary in Guyana, namely Stronghold Guyana, early in the year. And since late April, we initiated a drilling program consisting of at least 120 holes and more than 15,000 meters of drilling to effectively infill and expand the current resource as we know it. I didn't say yet, but the resource as we know it is already in excess of 18 million tons at 1.27 grams per ton of gold, as inferred mineral resource. So we are talking about in excess of 750,000 ounces located primarily from surface to a depth of 150 meters in horizontal bodies, and therefore creating an open pitable scenario down the line. So the vision and the target for the company as Stronghold Metals is to expand this resource through infill drilling and expansion drilling. The project is open in 3 different directions and in depth, and we hope that we have significant understanding now from the due diligence we have done and the geological data we inherited from IAMGOLD that this resource can grow up to 1.3, 1.5 million ounces, and therefore support an independent mining operation at potentially 100 to 120,000 ounces a year for a minimum of 10 years. This is our target. We want to achieve that by, as I said, enhancing the resource, and that's why we initiate this drilling in April. In the recent news that you referred, Stuart, the recent news we put out in August 2011, these were effectively the first analytical results we see from Acme Labs, and we proven that at least 75 to 80% of the holes we are drilling are hitting the gold resource as we knew it. We are talking about results that spanning from a few meters to 14 meters intersections of economic grades spanning from 0.5 to 0.8 grams per ton to north of 3 to 4 and 5 grams per ton over narrow intersections. We will keep putting out further news every 3 to 4 weeks from now on as we keep receiving more analytical results and the program matures. But this program is going to last for at least 6 months and will go beyond Christmas, and hopefully by that time we may even have a 43-101, a new report 43-101, as it's called by kind of regulatory requirements in terms of enhancing the resource and the final outlay of ounces in the ground.
Well, it sounds like an exciting time for us to be speaking to Stronghold Metals listeners. Thank you so much, Yannis, for that incredibly informative section there. A lot to digest with this company's listeners. And sometimes, Yannis, the best way for our listeners to be educated on the company is to sort of draw comparisons to other companies, like-kind companies, maybe your benchmark companies. Now, there's other companies in Guyana, Sandspring Resources, Guyana Goldfields. How do you see Stronghold Metals stacking up to those companies?
Yes, it's always, I would like to say, and it's always difficult to compare a company with other companies because, there are different dynamics there. Mm-hmm. But having said that, we're pretty proud of what we got in Guyana and our partners IAMGOLD. The Eagle Mountain project is not at its stage, as we know it now, as big as the projects of Guyana Goldfields or Sandspring. Having said that, however, the project is located only 45 kilometers from the Omai gold mine, which is a closed mine now, but is the only big mine that produced 4 million ounces in Guyana. Therefore, the infrastructure is there. So it's a project that, actually a unique project in Guyana that can take you with a 4x4 truck from the capital, Georgetown, to drive you to the property. So when it comes to a country that is, infrastructure challenged somehow, mm-hmm. Having a project so close to, with power lines along the property or an airstrip just 3 kilometers from the property. So obviously that's a very, very important in terms of thinking the future development of Eagle Mountain into a viable economic mining operation. From that perspective, definitely we score. Now, Guyana Goldfields and Sandspring have 2 very interesting projects. They are bigger in size, and they have drawn the attention of the international investors community to Guyana. But the bigger a project, I would say, the bigger the capital expenditure that it will require to be developed. On the contrary, Eagle Mountain, especially to the target, as I mentioned before, 100,000 ounces per year, for a minimum of 10 years, if we do achieve this kind of resource and we control the cash cost per ounce to be around $600 or under $600 per ounce, we are talking about a milling operation of about 4,500 to 5,000 tons a day. I personally come from a BHP Billiton environment, so I'm a miner more than anything else. So I understand that a project like that, with all the infrastructure around it, might not necessitate a capital expenditure greater than $120 to $150 million. So that, in comparison with somebody who has a much bigger project and needs probably $750 million to develop the project, so it makes a big difference in terms of commencement of an operation.
I agree, and that's a great point that you bring up there. You also just touched on a little bit about your background. Let's learn more about you, Yannis, and the team there at Stronghold Metals.
Yeah, we have a great team in Stronghold Metals on both the board level, but also the operating and management level. Speaking for myself, I'm a geophysicist with more than 19 years experience from the biggest mining company on earth, BHP Billiton. Half my career with BHP was on the technical front. I was the chief geophysicist for the group for years in South America, and for about 10 years I was the business development manager for the exploration team based in Vancouver with a global reach. So I had a huge portfolio of exploration projects. I have worked with them on M&A and several contracts with governments, juniors, majors, and so on. So, I mean, obviously through this period of time, I learned the mining business very well in about 11 different commodities, and I have done business in about 35 countries. So, I guess enough for myself, but we have a tremendous team in Stronghold. The board is split between people that have very strong technical background. We've got people that have delivered mines. Art Fries, for example, is one of the most important technical geologists in Canada. He has been the most important consultant and employee in the past of Goldcorp. He's currently, working with several juniors in North America, and he has played a significant role in on the due diligence part for acquiring the project of Eagle Mountain in Guyana. Mr. McQuiggan, Paul McQuiggan, or Dr. Luis Bizzi in Brazil, exceptional scientists with successes with work in, Anglo-American, De Beers, Brazilian Development Bank, Geological Survey of Brazil. Paul has been responsible for several discoveries in Canada and in North America, with a lot of work behind him in Mexico and so on. The other half of the board is financial people, entrepreneur people that they have raised hundreds of millions of dollars, and I feel very proud that we've got this board. On the management side, Jeff Hampson and Rory Codinio, very people that have played a role in the developing of junior companies on the venture capital markets. Mr. Codinio is one of the most prominent lawyers in Western Canada, with part of the advisory committee of the TSX Venture Exchange. So we've got direct input into that and the regulatory necessities for running a junior company. In Guyana, we have more than 22 people now, as I said, with experience. Our chief geologist has worked in the past for Newmont Mining Corporation, the biggest company in the gold sector at the moment, but with IAM Gold also for several years and Golden Star. So, and a strong experience, more than 7 years living in Guyana. So if I could capture all that, as you understand, is a great team, and the team that not only guarantees the development of Eagle Mountain on the exploration front, but also the team that will move the project from this front to the feasibility study stage and then the development of the mine.
Well, listeners, once again, we are speaking with Stronghold Metals Incorporated. Let me give you a summation here of what we've just talked about with Yannis. One, we've got strong management and an influential board. We've got people that have experience in the area of Guyana. Let's talk a little bit about Guyana. The infrastructure, yeah, it might be challenged, but where they're positioned, obviously they've got ease of access to the mining area. They talked about an airstrip 3 kilometers away. Let's also talk about the projects itself. The company has stellar projects currently. They're well funded for the future, and I want you to look back at a press release that came out July 19th. The company did a private placement, a non-brokered private placement. You can read about that. Let's talk about right place at the right time. Gold is a hot area for everybody right now. Gold, because of what's happening in the States market, has had an incredible run. So much so that gold in the ground and mining companies are the new frontier for investors looking to get a way to leverage this growth in gold. So gold in the ground is something that people are looking at. I don't think it could be a hotter market to be in than right now. The company's outlined its corporate strategy very well on its website. We have taken that and summarized it here at our website at SmallcapVoice.com. So along with this audio interview, we encourage you to take a look at the info sheet we created on the company, read the news on the company as well. Well, Yannis, thank you so much for your time, your candor, your personal insight into your company. Any closing thoughts for the shareholders and, of course, our listeners here at SmallcapVoice.com?
Yes, Stuart. I would like to say there are three reasons for why people should invest in Stronghold Metals, Inc. Firstly, we have a great team, a dedicated team in the mining front, not only exploration but with mining experience too. Secondly, the asset is it's a fantastic asset. It's an advanced project with ounces. It's not just an exploration project in the jungle. So people can bet because there is already 750,000 ounces on the ground. And the third reason is the actual valuation of the company given its current capitalization against the gold that we have at the moment on the ground. And these days, typically, you can value a company with about between $50 and $100 per ounce at this kind of phase of exploration that we are in. In Stronghold, the timing is as such because we just captured the opportunity earlier this year and we have just moved with our current drilling that we have been seriously undervalued. And therefore, I could say that we do not have even $20 to $22 per ounce of what is already known, nevertheless, what we're going to bring by the current drilling phase. So, at about $25 million capitalization, we have a lot of space to move on in the next 6 months to 12 months. And I feel very confident that by delivering our current program and success into this program, we can prove to the markets and the investors that Stronghold is a great opportunity for people to come, get some stock, and definitely get some gains over the next 12 months.
Very well said. Clearly an undervalued company at this point, listeners, and a great opportunity for you to take a closer look at Stronghold Metals Incorporated. Yannis, thank you so much for your time here today at Small Cap Voice.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank you and Small Cap Voice for the opportunity to speak to the public in the United States.
You bet, and we'll be speaking to you again in the very near future as we dig deeper into the Stronghold Metals story and their project, Eagle Mountain, there in Guyana, and, well, all their projects for that matter. Listeners, once again, my name is Stuart Smith, and I'd like to thank you so much for listening.
SmallcapVoice.com, today's leader in investor relations, capital formation, and retail support, provides its clients with the highest level of service. Our audio interviews are disseminated to one of the largest opt-in audiences available today. How? We at SmallcapVoice.com believe in aligning and affiliating ourselves with other leaders within the investor relations community. By sharing resources, each affiliated firm is made that much stronger and each client is served that much better. Our focus is to identify and provide the very best financial services and solutions available to clients and their shareholders. For more information about our services, please call us at 512-267-2430 or visit us on the web at www.smallcapvoice.com. This is a broadcast of SmallcapVoice.com, a financial communications and investor relations firm. SmallcapVoice.com receives payment for investor relations and financial consulting services that it provides to its clients. You should assume that officers, directors, and employees of SmallcapVoice.com or financial analysts mentioned and their families hold a position and intend to trade in these securities for their own accounts. This is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell securities. Information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be, nor should it be construed as, investment advice. As in all investments, an investment in the featured company carries an investment risk. Listeners should review the company thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This broadcast does not purport to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used and statements of fact have been obtained from the featured company and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by SmallcapVoice.com as to completeness or accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice.